Today on Loyola News Chicago, Illinois' former governor leaves prison. We'll introduce you to Loyola's new provost, and the Ramblers are on a roll.
From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Welcome to Loyola News Chicago. I'm Shelby Kluver. Former Democratic Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich returns home to Chicago after President Trump commutes his sentence. Blagojevich was elected as the 40th governor in 2003. He was removed from office in 2009 on charges of corruption after prosecutors said he attempted to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat after Obama was elected president. The ex-governor's 14-year sentence came to a halt on Tuesday after 8 years of his wife pleading for President Trump to release him from prison. Blagojevich was one of 3 commuted sentences President Trump made on Tuesday. Blagojevich held a small press conference outside of his Northside home yesterday to answer questions. His release has generated a lot of reaction on social media. The hashtag Blagoj has been consistently trending on Twitter since Tuesday. Reactions have varied across the spectrum. President Trump tweeted in defense of the former governor, saying he, quote, paid a big price by serving 8 years. Many social media users inside and out of Illinois criticized Trump's decision because of what the former governor was convicted for. Others agreed that the sentence was, quote, unjust. And these are only a few reactions of the thousands accumulating on social media. Last night's Democratic primary debate in Las Vegas was another important stepping stone in the presidential race. Connor Bergen was at Loyola's Water Tower campus to see how and if students watched the event.
The Democratic national debate took place in Las Vegas last night, but here on Loyola's Water Tower campus, most students were too busy to tune in.
I feel like college students are just very focused on what's going on in their lives, and I feel like if they don't hear buzz stories or like these crazy controversial things, I don't think they really pay attention to it.
For students who did tune in, most turned to social media for updates and highlights, but most of the content focused on the drama of the debate rather than the policy.
It feels a lot more like a popularity race than a political debate, I guess, is what you see in social media a lot.
I think people maybe who are very interested in government or politics are focusing more on the policies, but I think people who just want to watch it for entertainment are looking at the attacks and changing their opinions based on that.
As we get closer to the election, we'll see if college students start paying more attention to the race. For Loyola News Chicago, I'm Connor Bergen.
Thanks, Connor. After the Nevada caucuses this weekend, candidates will prepare for the next debate taking place Tuesday night in South Carolina. And we have an update on the story we brought you last week about the turmoil at Senn High School in Edgewater. It made national news when students staged a sit-in. And since the story broke, we sat down with one of the students at the center of the issue to see what's changed. Shakira Chacon is a senior at Senn. She helped organize the sit-in after witnessing a teacher allegedly tell her friend to, quote, go back to your country when she didn't stand for the national anthem. Chacon said several students met with Senn administration to draft a contract preventing further incidents. The contract, worked out between the students and Senn principal Mary Beck, calls for more cultural training for staff members, a policy for students to sit or stand for the national anthem, and a flowchart breaking down faculty responsibility, as well as someone designated to handle student complaints and reports.
She had to agree with it, and she agreed with it, and she was very yes, let's do it. I guess she just wanted to be yeah, whatever they want, But that's what we did, and we wanted that to, be more here.
Chacon says the contract shows the success of the sit-in and gives students hope that they can make a difference. And after a nationwide search lasting 22 months, Loyola finally has a provost again. I sat down with Dr. Noberto Grivitz to find out how his first few days on the job have been. He officially began work on February 3rd. Dr. Grivitz previously held positions at Georgetown, USC, and MIT, but says Loyola's willingness to try something new drew him here.
In order to tackle really urgent and complex problems in the world, you will need to have people that want to do it, and then you want to have a mixture of expertises. Interdisciplinarity for me is not just a buzzword.
I don't know her personally, but I know who she is, yeah.
As provost, Dr. Grievitz oversees the school's academic operations. His goal is to make cooperation across schools and between students a reality.
We don't come here just to learn a skill, we come here to become better people. And so it has all the elements of what I am looking for. And it is an opportunity for me to work with all my colleagues, the deans, the faculty, the students, the staff, to try to create something completely new.
And when asked if he had any fun ideas for connecting with students, Dr. Grievitz said he would love to challenge the students to a soccer game, faculty versus the students. Loyola students will now face yet another tuition increase next school year. Michael Faso reports on why the increases keep happening and where the money is going.
In a mass email on January 16th, Loyola President Rooney announced a 3.1% increase in tuition, which will add $1,370 to the cost for undergraduate students next year. As reported by the Phoenix, tuition has been increasing at Loyola since 1989. Graduate students won't face any tuition increases unless you're in the Stritch School of Medicine or the School of Law. Residence halls and food plans are also expected to have an increase of 2% or less. Some students were surprised at the tuition increase, including sophomore Eric Moran, a multimedia journalism major in the School of Communications. For the second year in a row, he will face yet another increase in tuition.
I think the price that students are already paying is already ridiculously high. I mean, it's a private university, I understand that. But when I got that notification, I was like, really?
According to Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer at Loyola, Wayne Majars, the main reason for the increase is to stay competitive with other universities in faculty and staff salaries.
Our operating budget annually is about $640 million, and the lion's share of that, almost 70%, is related to salaries, benefits, and related expenses for faculty and staff.
Majars also says investments like an additional $2 million next year in financial aid for incoming freshmen are also a reason for the increase in tuition. Moran is hoping the tuition increase will lead to noticeable improvements at the university.
I mean, if we're giving them more money, I'm expecting more resources. I'm expecting them to, use the money in a productive way.
Moran also says he hopes that the tuition increase won't drive students away from Loyola. Michael Faso, Loyola News, Chicago.
Loyola's tuition will now be more than $63,000 a year, but the university says 99% of first-year students got some sort of financial aid last fall. The Loyola Phoenix reports on how Loyola's international student population has decreased since 2017. A report from Loyola's chapter of the American Association of University Professors found that the drop in students has lost the school more than $25 million in tuition. Part of the drop is due to major changes in the school's English language learning program. Also, after last spring, the Beijing Center stopped being offered to Loyola students as a study abroad option. The report also cited vaccines and leadership as a factor. The Office of International Program has not had an executive director since last February. Similarly, the position of vice provost for global programs has been vacant since 2018. And the coronavirus has had unexpected consequences for some Loyola students. When Grace Johnson decided to study abroad in Shanghai, China, she had her return flight booked for May 9th. But on January 31st, just over 3 weeks after arriving in Asia, she was on a plane headed back to Chicago. Her program, along with many in the region, decided to send students home after the coronavirus began to spread. Loyola University officially pulled all of its students out of China at the end of January. Johnson says her and her fellow Loyola students were given the option to choose a different program somewhere else in the world or to return to Chicago, but they had to make their decision immediately.
It was like 5 or 6 days that I had over there to just like figure things out and then also like try to experience China, but like that was also hard because everything's just like completely just like shut down and like quarantined, so that was a very, I don't know, that was like a crazy couple of days over there just trying to like get my life together.
She decided to come back to Chicago and to try and find housing, classes, and an internship nearly a month into the semester. Through it all, Johnson says the university was as helpful as they could be, but it doesn't change how disappointing the situation turned out.
Just like look out the window and I'm like, that's not China. I'm like, what am I doing here? Or like when I got off the plane and I saw my parents at the airport, I'm like, I shouldn't see you yet. Like, what's going on?
The university told Loyola News Chicago that they are doing everything they can for the students in this extreme position, from helping to find housing to letting them know what mental health services are available. And coming up on Loyola News, we'll tell you how binge watching could really pay off. And we'll show you how the Ramblers overcame a slow start. We'll be right back.
They said I would never become a doctor.
They said my skin was too dark.
I should straighten my hair.
They thought my nose was too big.
They counted me out too many times to count.
Because I fight to be heard, they call me an angry black woman.
My hair was distracting.
I would never start my own business.
I say my skin empowers me. Take it or leave it.
I say don't touch my hair.
I am a black doctor. I own my own practice, and because of this, I'm changing lives every single day. My blackness is empowering. My skin, my hair,
my confidence,
my culture,
my community is empowering.
So believe it.
So believe it.
So believe it.
The Loyola Ramblers are down to their last 3 games in the regular season, and they got a crucial win last night in a packed Gentile Arena. Our own Tim Edmonds gives us a recap.
The Loyola men's basketball team entered Wednesday night with a clear goal in mind: protect home court against rival Illinois State University and keep pace with league-leading University of Northern Iowa. Strugglers of late, the Redbirds sat at 3-11 in conference play entering the in-state matchup, but it was the Ramblers who got off to a slow start early, especially star center Cameron Crutwig.
I thought the first couple possessions we got the ball in the middle, which is what we wanted, and then all of a sudden we were just staring at it, trying to get it and force it, and you can't force it, you got to get it side to side. And I thought our ball movement and getting the zone and shifting the zone was so much better in the second half than it was the first half.
Struggling from all over the field and from the free throw line, Loyola headed to the locker room trailing 38-34 in a game many expected them to run away with.
Honestly, I missed a lot of shots that I normally would make, but you got to stay with it and just stay confident and just know that the percentages will even out. And yeah, once one or two guys start making a couple, the other guys start to feel really, really good, and suddenly the ball starts going a little bit more. So just staying positive.
Despite the slow start, the Ramblers would eventually heat up from downtown early in the second half as redshirt junior Tate Hall buried 4 consecutive three-pointers.
Kind of got in a groove there, you know. My teammates kind of started to find me, kind of found the holes in the defense. So, yeah, I mean, it feels good to play well and just play well as a team. So.
Hall led an onslaught from deep by the Ramblers as he led all scorers with 28 points, and Loyola hit 10 three-pointers to coast past the Redbirds in the second half. With 4 double-digit scores in the second half alone, the Ramblers would outscore the Redbirds 50-31 over that stretch, and they completed the comeback to take home their 11th conference win of the season.
And with tonight's 84-69 victory over Illinois State, Loyola moves to within a half game of league leaders University of Northern Iowa. The Panthers take on Indiana State University tomorrow in Cedar Falls, Iowa, with Loyola's season continuing this Saturday when they travel to Springfield, Missouri to take on the Missouri State Bears. From Gentile Arena, Tim Edmonds, Loyola News, Chicago.
Loyola's final home game of the regular season is next Tuesday against Drake. Then it's on to Arch Madness, the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament in St. Louis, starting March 8th. Alongside last night's game was the yearly edition of Campus Ministries' Jesuit Jam. It's geared toward educating Loyola students about the school's Jesuit and religious communities. The event offered free pizza and apparel in the Damon Student Center. Complete with games and prizes for all ages, Jesuit Jam drew thousands of fans and students from both before and after Wednesday's victory over Illinois State.
Sponsor a Ramblers men's basketball game.
hopefully we'll win. Go Blurs. And then after, we have a large after party with free pizza for students, popcorn, carnival games, where they just get to really meet Jesuits, Jesuit values on campus, and really get to have that Loyola experience.
One thing that's nice from my perspective is sometimes people think that religious are kind of stuffy or like they don't see us around. So just to show like, hey, we like to have a good time and we want to invite people into that good time too. I think that's kind of a good message as well.
The Jesuits also sold t-shirts to raise money. Campus ministry is donating all the proceeds to local Jesuit schools and charities. And if you're a fan of the Fast saga, this story is for you. Fast and Furious 9 trailer dropped 2 weeks ago and has already been viewed more than 31 million times on YouTube. The action-packed film is set to be released on May 22nd. And a Honda dealership in Yonkers, New York is offering $900 to anyone who will watch the first 9 films of the Fast and Furious series, including the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, the week of the Fast 9 premiere. The best part of this is you don't have to know anything about the series to apply, and you don't even have to live in Yonkers. Besides the $900 cash prize, the winner will also receive a $50 gift card to any theater of their choice, all of the 9 films to keep for themselves, and a snack pack. You must be 18 years or older to apply at YonkersHonda.com. You have until May 6th, and the winner will be announced on May 8th. And I guess I know what I will be doing for spring break. And that's our news today. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.